Okay, what I'm preparing here is smoked. It's a sweet smoked salmon. It's sockeye salmon or red salmon from Alaska. We cut off the bellies when we fillet them, and the belly meat makes a great smoked salmon. What I've done here is I've thawed them out. You wash them and dry them both really well before you start. So pat it down with paper towels, get them nice and dry, and then you mix up right here. What I've got is I go 4 parts brown sugar to 1 part non-iodized salt, or I use here, it's kosher coarse salt is what I use. Main thing is when you're doing this is you have to put it in a plastic container. Make sure the fillets are nice and dry. Put it in a plastic container because the metal will react with the salt. So don't put it in anything metal. But I use 4 parts brown sugar, 1 part salt. That's a real sweet smoke. A lot of people would prefer maybe you can go 3 parts brown sugar, 1 part salt, or you can just go, some people even go even with it, 1 and 1. I prefer 4 parts brown sugar. It's a very sweet smoke that way. A lot of people back off to 3 parts, and that's a good sweet smoke also. But go ahead and wash them, dry them. Make sure that you put them in a nice plastic, got to be plastic or glass bowl, and then I'll take this salt and brown sugar, and I'll sprinkle it on them real good. You end up packing it in there later, but sprinkle it on real good. And when you take it, once you get it all sprinkled on here, and I'll actually pack it with my hands in a minute too. But you want to put it in the refrigerator for, I like at least 24 hours in the refrigerator. I wouldn't be afraid to go 36 hours, even 2 days. It'll build up almost like a candy once it sits in the refrigerator for a while. And oh, is it delicious when it builds up that nice candy. A nice candied, almost like a candy. And then I'll show you what to do after this. This is just step 1. It's not an easy process. It's a long process. I push it down with my hands here, rub it all in real good, and I'm actually going to put another layer facing down on top of this. I just don't have any more plastic things here. If you don't have to layer it, don't. Just lay it out in one layer. I'm doing it with the skin up right now, or the skin down. Sometimes skin up's a little better way to do it, because it does build up like a, man, it kind of starts leaking out fluid and stuff, and gets real juicy and good. So anyway, here is phase 1 of the salmon smoke, and it is not a short or easy process, but the end result is usually excellent. Okay, here's what they look like when they're all sitting in the plastic tub with the brown sugar and salt on them. I put it on really nice and thick, and we'll go set it in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours, 36 hours. Okay, here's what the salmon looks like after it's been sitting in the refrigerator for 24 hours. I like to leave it in for 24, 36 hours. We're going to go rinse it off, and then I'm going to lay it out on this cardboard right here with a fan on it to dry. Okay, now what I've done is I've rinsed all these fish off in water. They had some of the salt and brown sugar still on them, and they get almost hard, almost like candy, like they're candied. It's not hard as a rock, but pretty stiff, and that's what you want. It's really gone into the meat. It's soaked in there. So I'm going to rinse them all off, and then I will. Well, they're rinsed, and I'm going to put them over here on this cardboard. We're going to dry them with a paper towel, and I'll show a picture of that in a minute. And then we'll throw a fan on them. Okay, so now I got all the salmon laid out, and what I do first here is I pat them all dry with a paper towel. And then what you need to do, you want them to get a glaze on them, so you put a fan on them for, I don't know, probably 5-6 hours at least to dry them to where they glaze up. But I do pat them all dry first with a paper towel. Most people aren't going to use salmon bellies, they're just going to use fillets, so you got to open these bellies up to pat them dry, but get them all dry. It just takes a minute, but you can see where this is a little bit of a process to do. Okay, so here they are. They've all been patted dry, but now we're going to let them air dry and just build a glaze. So I've got a fan on them. They're laid out here in the garage, and we'll we'll see how long it takes, but we're gonna dry them and they'll be ready to smoke. I'm using Camp Chef hickory premium hardwood pellets. Usually we use an alder or a cherry or an apple wood. That's normal for fish. I don't know what all this is. It just says premium hardwood pellets. I think it's got all that in it actually. But salmon from Alaska, a lot of people will use alder. But you take these, and first of all, we need to soak these before we smoke the fish, so we'll soak them in water. So this is how your salmon should look after sitting. It's been sitting pretty much all day with a fan on it, and we are in Alaska right now, so I've got the heat off in the garage, and it's nice and cool in here. But you can see the color and the dryness of the meat now. So now I'm going to stack it in the smoker. FDA says it's got to get to 145 degrees. This is for a hot smoke, but I will put it in the smoker. You can do a cold smoke, but it doesn't keep as long. I love a cold smoke. There's just some disadvantages, like it just doesn't keep as long as the hot smoke. So we need to get the internal temperature to 145 degrees. We'll end up smoking it for 3 or 4 hours. Not that long, but I really pour the smoke to it when I get it. And here's the smoker, packed full of salmon. We need another level in it, but we don't have one. And there's the chips in the bottom. It's got a water plate right here, but we won't be using that. You don't put water in with it. And here we go. Okay, and here is the finished product after it's cooled down. That's how the pretty salmon look when they're done. Okay, here's what the salmon looks like, all vacuum sealed and ready to eat. Just put it in the freezer and take it out when you want some. Thanks for watching.